Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have the steel wheel piercer liner lock version versus the Spyderco Manix 2 lightweight version. This is not the initial comparison I intended to review. I also have the piercer in the titanium frame lock. This one is actually mine. This is yours, one of yours. This particular liner lock blacked out version is going to somebody in our 5,000 sub giveaway. If you want to go back and check that out, don't worry. I use this for all the cut tests and all this stuff. This is mine. This has never cut anything. It's completely brand new. But after a while, I thought, you know what? Actually, I think these two are a better comparison. Not only because, selfishly, I already own one of these. I wasn't able to track down a standard S30V version. I was going to compare the S30V regular, G10 version versus the titanium frame lock piercer. But after a while, I just thought, wow, the weights are closer, and the prices aren't as close, honestly. But I thought, yeah, I just think these two compare a bit better. I was really surprised how close the weights are, this being a lightweight version. Yeah, we'll talk more about, I'll mention the S30V and the frame lock version as we go on here, but I just think these two are the ones people will debate more a little bit. Some people call under $100 budget. I wouldn't call either of these really true budget knives, but, they're closer to it than the other two are, so let's just do that. By the way, both of these are available currently on White Mountain Knives. I actually held this review off for a couple of days because I was waiting for the piercer to actually hit retailers, so I knew exactly what the price was going to be. Because at the time Steel Will sent these to me to review, they were only available on the Steel Will website, which was full MSRP. I knew it would be a little bit lower than that when it actually hit the street, as the kids say, and it is. This is $67.99 for the liner lock version, and the Spyderco Manix 2 lightweight also went up a little bit. Another thing I was waiting for, Spyderco announced they were going to do some price increases, and they did. This wasn't dramatic. It's still $94.25. I think it's maybe $3 more than it was when I originally bought this one 2 years ago. No changes, though. Yeah, this is an older knife, but they're all exactly the same. So, yeah, there we go. Got that out of the way. How do these things work? We have our usual 7 categories for our battles to the death. We have the design and aesthetics, the quality, the blade, the ergonomics, the carry, deployment, and value. And then at the end of it, add up the scores. Pick a winner. Everybody gets 1 point each category. Easy peasy. Let's do some stats before we get too much farther, though. We'll start out with the Manix 2. Age before beauty. We will get to that in a moment. Overall length, 8 inches. Blade length of 3.37 inches. You have a blade thickness of 0.13 inches. Handle thickness of 0.45. And a weight of dead on 3 ounces. Earning its lightweight category. For a knife this size, it's pretty lightweight. Now we go to the steel wheel piercer. Little shorter in overall length. You've got 7.7 inches. You have a blade length of 3.2 inches. Blade thickness, a little bit thinner, not a whole lot, 0.125 inches. A handle thickness of 0.48 inches, just a smidge thicker. But weight is only 3.55 ounces, which is pretty good, I have to say. I was expecting it to weigh like at least a full ounce heavier than the Manix 2 lightweight, but it does not. Just a half an ounce. If you can feel that in your pocket, you have your mind is better calibrated than mine. Now let's go to the design and aesthetics. First of all, these are just 2 color choices. I have the steel wheel resonant on my mind because I just talked to somebody about it on the phone today. The steel wheel piercer comes in either this black wash or the same satin blade that the titanium frame lock version comes in. All black. They're all black handles. You don't get any choice there. The Manix 2 lightweight comes in with this CTS BD1 blade, comes in either this satin. It does come in a black or in a DLC coated blade. It also will come with the satin with translucent blue handles, which I do kind of wish I'd have gotten. They look a little classier, but at the time I was like, I don't like blue things, so I didn't get it. So they both come in a few different versions, but no matter how many versions they come in, there are a lot of things I love about the Manix 2, don't get me wrong. I've had this particular one for, I think I already said 2 years. I've had it for a long time. I love a whole lot of things about it. The way it looks is absolutely not one of them. It is not a pretty knife. Never gonna be. I've had a lot of Manix 2s. I've even had the one that looks the best, the carbon fiber crew wear sprint run, and it still wasn't a pretty knife. It's just, I don't know, just the shape of it. A lot of things work great about it, but the way it looks is definitely not one of them. Where the piercer, on the other hand, first time I saw it, I think was on Instagram, and I immediately just thought, wow, that's a cool looking knife. I really want to get my hands on that. So clear win to the piercer for the looks. It's really not even close. It's yeah, I don't think I think even the biggest Manix 2 fan in the world wouldn't say it's great looking. We'll move on to quality. This one was kind of odd. You have Golden, Colorado, USA Earth. You have made in China. I don't think it says it on the blade here anywhere, but it is. This is a Tommaso Ramici design. The Manix 2 is, I believe that's Eric Glesser's mark on there. I'm sure some Spyderco fan will adamantly correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but yeah, I think that's Eric's. They're both perfectly fine made. There's nothing wrong with either of them. The reason why I'm going to give the win to the steel wheel for quality is I can take this apart. It's just what it comes down to. And I didn't know where to put that in here, but yeah, that's one thing that's always frustrating about the Manix 2 lightweight. Now, the full-on Manix 2 you can take apart, but this one you can't, and I don't like that. So got to give the win to the steel wheel for that. I mean, both have really great blade centering, lockup, all that stuff you'd want, and no lock rock, no blade play. They're both very well made, but this one can be maintained. So it goes to the steel wheel for that category. Now, blade. This one surprised me because the Manix 2 lightweight is, this knife in particular is kind of one of my go-tos for slicing cardboard and all that stuff. It's CTS BD1 versus D2 for the steel wheel. It's a great slicer. It's one of my favorites for cutting cardboard. It is by, I don't know what we call it, today's standards. It's a bit thick behind the edge. It's 25 thousandths behind the edge. But a thin blade stock and an absolutely complete full flat grind. And it's a great little cardboard slicer, and I really do like it for that. And I use it for that a whole lot. But the D2 from Steelwell, I also have a lot of experience with that. I've had several of their knives in D2, and it's always been really good. This is quite a bit thinner behind the edge. You're getting 18 thousandths behind the edge. Almost as high as a flat grind as we have on the Manix 2, and as the name would indicate, got a pretty good piercing tip. They're actually both pretty close. You can't see the swedge from the camera, but they're almost identical as far as piercing tips go. But yeah, I gotta give the win to the steel wheel because I sharpen it less. This is a knife that has had to be sharpened. I'm not gonna say often, but I think BD1's a good steel. I don't mind it at all. But yeah, it's the D2 from Steelwell seems to hold an edge for a little bit longer. It might be a smidge more difficult to sharpen, so it's up to you if that's a preference for you. But yeah, I gotta give a very slight win to the Steelwell for the blade. Ergonomics. This one, I wasn't sure because when I first got the piercer, I thought, man, this thing feels good in the hand. It just feels great. It is a really comfortable knife. no hot spots whatsoever. You're locked in. It just feels really good in your hand. It definitely does. But then for this review, I actually hadn't touched this thing in quite a while, and I pulled the Manix 2 back out and I put it in my hand, and I was like, oh yeah, I still love the ergonomics of the Manix 2. That's probably my favorite thing about it. I will say I have very long fingers. I have large size glove hands, but my fingers are really long, and I have skinny little fingers, but they're long, and it's just the thickness of the hand, or the height of the handle, the fact you can choke up. Yeah, ergonomics, this is great. It's so good, and I hate giving it a loss in this because the piercer is so good ergonomically. But one of my favorite things about both of these knives is their ergonomics, but this is just a little bit more. And I'd probably say even more of a victory if this was the G10 version, S30V version versus the frame lock version, because it's even, it has the nice G10 texture. And I will say that this bi-directional FRN does freaking work. There's no doubt about that. Not as nice as a tactile feel when you're just fiddling with it, but it does really work. This thing ain't going nowhere in your hand. If you're going to do some hardcore stuff, yeah, this is going nowhere. Gloves, whatever. If you have, Greedo fingers, it'll still grip very, very well. Rhodian, that's what I was trying to think of. I said Greedo because I couldn't think of the race. If you have Rhodian fingers, that is a deep cut Star Wars reference for you there. What do we have coming up next? Carry. Carry, yeah, it's the piercer. I mean, the Manix too, that's one thing we always talk about. They both have great pocket clips. This uses a wire clip. I really like the Spyderco wire clips, but it's just so tall in the pocket. And the piercer comes with a great clip too. It's reversible. I just love the clip on this. It's a nice deep, it's super deep carry. And neither of them are knives, I would say, disappear in your pocket, but the piercer carries a lot better than the Manix 2. If you have a Manix 2 of any variation in your pocket, that's pretty much all you're going to have in that pocket. It is, as I call, a pocket dominator, where the piercer is not. You could still have some other stuff in there. Next category, deployment. This is no contest. It's the Manix. I mean, the piercer deploys fine. This one isn't broken in much, but it still deploys fine. But you got to shake it shut, and it is a nice snappy detent. It's fine. They run on washers. This also runs on washers, but it has the ball bearing lock. And you get to do all the cool, fun ball bearing lock things, which you don't have. And the steel wheel only has, you can spider flick it or thumb flick it. That's it. There's no thumb studs, no flipper, no nothing. You've got everything on this, except the flipper. Thank God, because I'm kind of, Spyderco's doing some weird things with flippers right now. It's a whole other subject. But yeah, deployment and stuff. This is infinitely more fun to fidget with. Infinitely more fun to fidget with than the piercer is. So very, very, very clear win for deployment to the Manix 2 lightweight. Value, our final category. Okay, for $94 you're getting Spyderco. The name may be worth that to you, and I don't blame you if it is. I have no problem with that. We are nerds. A lot of us are collectors and nerds more than really hardcore users. You might just want that Spyderco name. Completely get it. But if you are coming from out of nowhere and you walk into a knife shop and this is, what, 68 bucks versus 94 something, and you picked them up and handled them, I cannot fathom you thinking this was worth however much more money that is. I'm not going to even attempt to do math today. Then the piercer is. I just can't. I think you'd choose the piercer all day if you're just shopping for stat on stat and budget. This has arguably better steel. It's nice G10, nice quality G10, where this is fancy plastic. Yeah, No, I can't imagine if someone dropped out of space and wound up at a knife dealer that they would think this was worth more money than the steel wheel is. Again, if you're a hardcore knife guy, maybe you will. Maybe you will think, no, I'd rather have the USA-made Spyderco over the steel wheel. So I'm going to give the win to the steel wheel for value. And I think I still would if it was this versus the regular Manix. The regular Manix is what, 113? Well, no, now they're getting down to about the same price. But I don't know, titanium frame lock. You're looking at $111 versus $113.75 if you are comparing this one and the S30 V1. It would be much closer, but I still think you'd pick this because even the $113.75 Manix 2 still has these plastic buttons for the ball bearing lock, which I've never liked. I don't know why they don't make them metal on the fancier versions. The finish on this just looks a little nicer. Yeah, I think even if it was comparing those two, I would probably still pick this. As I said, it would be much closer, but I'd probably still pick the piercer for it, just because of that titanium and, you know, materials wise and stuff. I don't know. But then you get D2 versus S30V. It's a whole thing. But I still think I might pick the titanium frame lock piercer over the standard Manix. It would be really close, but I might. But thankfully, I don't have to make that decision today. We're just comparing these two, and between these two, it's a pretty easy decision that the piercer is the better value. So, where does that add us up? What it adds up to for me in my heart is sadness, because I love the Manix 2 lightweight. It's probably my favorite knife I've ever owned, and it will probably continue to be my favorite knife I've ever owned for unquantifiable reasons. It was the knife that, I think I did that video about the knife that broke me. It's the one that made me a knife fan. I love the Manix 2 lightweight, but when you start putting down the scores, the piercer's a better knife. It just is. It's not even close. 5-2. 5-2. It's one of the biggest wins we've ever had. Yeah, it hurts my soul to say it, and it's not like I'm going to run out and sell my Manix 2 lightweight, because first of all, I've talked so much about how much I use it. Who would buy it? And I want another Manix 2. Like, I want one of the regular ones, or one of the Sprints or something. Like, I love the Manix 2. I truly do. So I'm just very sorry, Spyderco. I will continue to be a Manix 2 fan. I overall like it better than the PM2. But compared to this new piercer, it doesn't cut it anymore. I really hope they do one of their, what is that, constant quality improvement things they do, and let me be able to take it apart. Maybe do like they do on the Native 5, where this is just G10 slabs, you know, without liners, to make it a little lighter. And have like a lightweight plus or something. I don't know what they call it, but there's stuff they could do to improve it. But I love the design, but no. Now, if I was coming into now, I'd have bought the piercer and I'd have been very happy with it. Thinking of the day I went in to go buy this when I didn't know much about knives. I had a couple, but didn't know much. And if I went into a knife dealer and held these two, I'd have bought the steel wheel. So, hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I hope you guys get some schadenfreude from my heartbreaking having to make this decision. But yeah, clear winner. Steel wheel piercer. Great knife. Either configuration is good. I kind of think maybe this one's a lot better. Is actually a lot better value. $67.99 versus $110.99. I think you should probably get the liner lock one. But hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.